Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Maverick here, bringing to you another episode of Steins Gate 0. Now, I am really looking forward to this episode because at the end of last episode, we see that Okabe entered a timeline where Kurisu is actually alive again and in the flesh, right? It was nice to have Amadi as Kurisu, but it's not quite the same as the actual thing, right? Now, what kind of circumstance are they going to be under? Like, is this just a variation of the alpha or beta timelines, or is this something else completely else? Hard to say, and we shall see here, right? I also, from last episode, made a little bit more theory crafting and predictions as to what we're actually at, what we're actually dealing with. Long story short, I believe there are currently two forces in the world, probably the US and then Russia, who are each developing their own time travel technology as sort of a precursor to the eventual World War III that will happen in the beta timeline, if you will. And one or both of them have developed time travel, and that is why Okabe is currently reading Steiner. There we go. His reading Steiner activated and now is sent to another timeline. So let's just see if that is the case, and let's get started. Alrighty, beginning in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. So one where she does know of him. Okay. More to the point, is this a different timeline, or is this back to the past? Because there's a big difference between... Oh, Happy New Year. Okay. So it's just a different timeline. Yeah, this is a different... But wait, if... Wait. Oh man, so is this the beta timeline? Man, you need to really go back and think about like what the relationship is at in all these different timelines, right? Anyways, let me skip this real quick. And start. Okay, so... Okay, so this is a timeline that Mayuri died? So this is the alpha timeline, right? But why are you still here? Okay, so... Mm, hmm. Oh, okay. So I guess he's looking up what actually happened to Mayuri. Well, I mean, if you, the answer should be fairly obvious, right? If you didn't do it, someone else did. Hmm. Ah, Ferris. Oh yeah. Okay. Hmm. But Okabe was there, wasn't he? So why do you need to I guess this is to explain to us viewers? Mm. You don't. Why would you say that here? Excellent. Okay. So it's like the exact opposite of the beta timeline? Hmm. So how much does this Kurisu know? Everything still happened up to episode 23 yet, right? So okay, so Kurisu does know. Right. If that was the case, then Kurisu does know that uh Okabe would be choosing one or the other. Either Kurisu or Mayuri. You planted one on him? Ah, dang. You are smart, Kurisu. Oh. Guess that's a little secret between Okabe and Kurisu of this world. 'But how do you know how to send him back? Now, if you really think about it, this is like seriously messed up. I mean, doing it once is messed up enough, doing it twice? Holy crap. Hmm. And yeah, like, I still have this big question. Like, how are they able to so easily send him back to another world line? He doesn't even know what happened. Why are you standing? Sir. That's kind of funny. Hmm. Oh? Right, so this scene is integral? That's what I was thinking all along. Oh shit. Mayuri's tomb? Yep. Where she is with her grandma, I guess. Isn't that similar to how Mayuri was acting? But like, who's to say what is the actual? And of course, the light. Reach out for the light. What? Yeah. How do you know how to change it though? Isn't that what she said before as well? Mm-hmm. Really? What? Oh man, Kurisu. But again, How do you know how to send him back to the other timeline? The phone microwave literally works by changing the past. There's a discrepancy? How? Okay, somebody's gotta explain to me, like, why this can work this way. I knew it! Dang it, I knew it. Oh man. Like, and you she presses it. Right. What? Liar. Oh yeah, that's the ending of the. Okay, that was quite the emotional ending there. I will fully admit that I kind of teared up a little bit. Although I didn't quite fully sink myself into the emotions of that moment because I was actually thinking about a lot of other different stuff and some of the, I guess, weird parts of this episode that I was trying to think and figure out what exactly was going on and how that actually made sense, right? But don't get me wrong, the ending part was I really liked that entire part, how they structured it, and I guess you could say it's kind of a callback in a sense, you know, from the kiss to at the very end to saying sayonara, not actually saying sayonara, saying goodbye, but it definitely was a callback to the original series, episode 22, where they bid their farewells with each other, right? So I did like that part very much. And then the ending song, that was timed perfectly. Although, again, I feel like that probably should have provoked my emotions a little bit more, except that at the very ending, when they had to, I guess you could say it's a sort of a flashback of that timeline, where, again, it calls back to episode 22 and how she eventually burst into the door, just as Okabe made the final decision to send out the database modification that reset the timelines, right? Which actually I'll get a little bit into after this as well. So all in all, as a Okabe slash Kurisu pairing fan, this definitely was right up my alley. Now, on to the other. Let's talk about some theories first, right? Because in this episode, it is again confirmed by Kurisu that and for this timeline specifically, for the Alpha timeline, Kurisu did not complete her theory on time travel, whereas in the Beta timeline, she did, and that's what got her kind of sort of killed in the first place, right? And eventually, all the stuff that happened later on, whether she was killed by Okabe or whatnot, I guess that isn't really relevant, but the thing is, the key point here is that in these two different timelines, Kurisu either completed the theory or did not, right? And if you guys recall, back a few episodes ago, I mean, even maybe back in episode 1 or 2, I'm not quite sure, I mentioned that this is actually a pretty big discrepancy, which I had a feeling was going to be addressed by Steins Gate Zero, this series, right? Because it doesn't really make sense if you think about it. Throughout the original Steins Gate, the difference between Alpha and Beta timelines seem to be from whether or not Okabe actually saw Kurisu in her blood there, right? Or something similar to that. But the whole idea, the whole point of that scene happening is because Kurisu had a fury at that moment, which she wanted to show her father, and that was the precursor to all the events that happened afterwards, right? However, if there is no fury, then that scene would not have happened, and none of the other stuff would have happened as well. Kurisu would simply continue to live on, and then eventually she and Okabe would meet each other, and, so on and so forth, right? So, yeah, to me, the whole thing is, the difference between the Alpha and Beta timelines was already decided even before Okabe went back and met Kurisu at that point, right, on August, because Kurisu had to have made the decision to either continue on the theory, or not, even way before that, right? So, I don't know, I just feel like that is a discrepancy that should be addressed. Judging from some of the replies that I got when I put forth this theory, it seems that this series is not going to concentrate on that, which to me, I don't know, I feel like that is potentially an oversight, because again, you don't just dream up of these theories, or just think up of these theories within like a day or two, right? This is definitely something that she's been working on for a long time now. So, the existence of this theory and not, that seems to be a crucial part of the entire storyline. And if it's not addressed, I mean, if Steins Gate Zero is addressing this issue, then great. I didn't say anything, and I'll be happy to see how they resolve the situation. If they don't resolve it, however, I don't know. I feel like that is a certain loophole, or I guess not loophole, but a certain hole in the entire time travel thingy, if you will. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on specifically on that part. And I was trying to go back into this episode and see if there's any small discrepancies or whatnot which would lead me to finding more clues as to what kind of action they're going to do in the future. So especially during that scene where Okabe was sort of remembering how from Kurisu's perspective, how she first met him, versus from Okabe's perspective, how he met her, I was thinking, hey, maybe there's some discrepancy here which I need to figure out. But so far, I rewatched episode 22, 23 beta, episode 1, and I feel like everything checks out, right? The difference between them meeting each other in the Beta world line and the Alpha world line. So I guess maybe that scene is only there to sort of try and remind Okabe that maybe the critical point is in Kurisu's father, and so he needs to track that clue down in order to figure out what's going on, how he changed timelines, right? It could potentially just be something as simple as that. So yeah. And then another part which I felt kind of confused by was in the other character. I believe she's called Fubiki. Fubiki, one of Mayuri's friends, who's now working at the working with Ferris in the maid shop or the cafe in this timeline, right? So I don't know. I feel like this might be just a script oversight or something, but they clearly showed them, them knowing each other. They went out and played together in some sort of fashion, both Okabe and this Fubiki character. So why in this episode she acted like she never met Okabe before and was explaining that kind of stuff? I don't know, that just felt strange to me. Maybe they wanted to use her as a sort of a tool to reiterate the situation, what happened in this world line to us. But in this case, they should have done it a little bit differently. Otherwise, it seemed that they made it seem like they never met each other before, right? So, I don't know about that. The timelines are actually a little bit different in terms of jumping back to the beta timeline. The original was in Steins Gate original. I believe they jumped back to 1.13. Here they show that it's 1.09. Minor discrepancies, right? But at the same time, though, it seems that it's significant enough that there is a difference here, right? It should be a little bit different than what Okabe originally experienced. Probably still not. It's still a 1.XX, right? So probably we're still going to go back into a timeline where Kurisu is dead and Mayuri is alive. All that remains is to see if the changes are significant enough to actually affect the story, right? On that note, however, how exactly did they change the timeline, right? That is my biggest question throughout this entire episode. Like, okay, I get it. You got the D-mail, right? You remade the phone microwave, and you can now send D-mails. That's fine and dandy and all, but in the original Steins Gate, the whole method they used in to get back to the original timeline, or the beta timeline, if you will, is by erasing everything that happened that led up to them changing timelines into the alpha timeline, right? So they basically undid everything that they did. In this case, however, they don't even know what was done. So how do you unchange something that you don't know about, right? That makes absolutely no sense to me. And even more to the point, we see that the D-mail that she sent was actually, it ties back to the original Steins Gate episode 22, right? So when Okabe had already made up his decision that he was going to go to the beta timeline, and in the end, it doesn't even affect anything, right? Because both in the original and here, Okabe had already pressed the button when Kurisu barged into the room. So whether or not she received that email or not shouldn't have changed anything. So why in the world did they change timelines because of this, right? I don't know, that just makes absolutely no sense to me, how they're able to do something like that. If this was actually further explained in the visual novel, or maybe it's going to be explained later on in the anime or something, do let me know. Otherwise, I am completely clueless as to how they managed to pull this off. So yeah, that concludes my thoughts for episode 8 of Steins Gate. Yeah, do let me know if there's anything I'm missing, or the theories that I put forth. Are we actually going to be addressing these issues, or were they addressed somewhere else? That kind of stuff. I know that since this is a visual novel adaptation, there's lots of information that are left out as well. So if that is the case, do let me know, and I guess I'll try to look it up if you guys can't be arsed to type long paragraphs of stuff, right? And for those of you that do, much appreciated. So there we go. That was my thoughts and review for this episode. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.